Please join us in welcoming Cynthia Ballard for her talk, Peace Amidst the Chaos.
So I have some old friends here that I know, that I've seen before, and some new faces, so thank you for coming. I guess before we start, I just would like to ask some of you who would like to volunteer, what brought you here? What called to you from the description? Anybody want to speak on that? Or was it dinner? So what called you to, when you saw the name, the title, what called you to come? Just some inner knowing? Right, right. And it is something we all need. And we forget our, we look outside of us. We'll talk a little bit about that. But yes, peace is so important. And it's a word that we use really freely without realizing the impact within ourselves. And so we always kind of think of peace as something out there. Oh, thank you. What is your name? Margaret. Okay, I know. All right. Anyone else want to speak on that? Thank you. That's kind of you. Thank you. Yeah. And for me, it's been a journey as well. It's been a journey from chaos to relatively a peaceful life. And so those of you that know me, I had a relatively chaotic life. And so I like to share techniques and things that I've learned on the journey to help others. And so that's why I'm here. So I thought we would actually start with just an opening meditation, just to bring us into a collective space of quiet and of peace within the group. Okay? So just close your eyes and just take a moment to allow yourself to settle into this space. And so I'll actually use a few techniques in this moment to allow us to center. And so I invite you to begin to be aware of the sounds in the room. You may hear others talking or eating still. So just be aware of that and be present with it. Be aware of any other sounds you may hear. So what I'd like you to do is really tune in to listening, as if you're listening like you've never listened before. So this is active listening, conscious listening. And just allowing your focus for this moment to be external. So being present with everything just as it is. And as you hear sounds, notice the tendency of the mind to label. For instance, if you hear the elevator, notice how the mind jumps into that quiet space and says, there's the elevator. So notice how the mind works. It labels everything that it becomes aware of. And then begin to allow your awareness to draw inward. So almost as if you're dropping down inside of your being, yourself. So just almost imagining a spiral staircase, and you're just walking down, down, down within yourself. And just relaxing the muscles of the face, And softening from the outer jaw to the inner ear. And softening from the inner ear to the midbrain. And as you pause in the midbrain, just allow yourself to drop into the heart. Just dropping into your heart and feeling your presence in this room. And the mind will jump in and it'll say, wait, we have this to do. Wait, I might get this call. Wait, this might happen. And just when the mind does that, just allow yourself to come to your breath. And so as you breathe in, take a nice breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, exhale through softly pursed lips, as if you're just open lips, as if you're breathing out of a soft, just open lips out of a straw, just breathing out very slowly. And as you breathe in, you're breathing in through the nose. And as you exhale, a very long, slow exhale through softly open lips. And you're making a little sound. It almost sounds like I'd like you to do that on your own just a few times. And notice how that breath brings you deeper within. And just relax. Stay focused on the breath. Allow every exhalation to take you deeper inside, within yourself. And be aware of any thoughts that may be present or any emotions. Also be aware of something, you might have pain in your body. There's something emotionally going on. So just be present with that as well. And continue to breathe. Allowing space. Inviting space within. Keep focusing on the breath, breathing in through the nose. And as you exhale, long, slow exhale through soft, open lips with a small sound. And just allow the breath to relax and be as it is. And just gather your awareness just at the center of the forehead. And just rest your gaze, staying focused and aware of this moment in time. Drop into feeling and being versus thinking and doing. And take one breath in and a long sigh. Just exhale. And gently rub your hands together. And just very, very lightly brush your face. Just energetically, just brushing away the mask that we all wear of who we think we should be, need to be, could be. Almost like we're just letting our true self shine through in this moment. And then just allowing your hands to come back down. And just very, very gently open your eyes, very slowly. And just be aware of a different kind of vision in this moment coming from within you versus externally driven. And notice anything that's present that may feel a little different. The connection within. So thank you for coming tonight. I'm really grateful you're here. So I wanted to just invite some commentary from all of us on what we feel peace is. Like if you had a word to describe peace, does anyone want to share what that would be? Calm, yes. Calm. Okay, I always have trouble with this. All right. Calm. Anyone else want to share what you feel peace would mean to you? Quiet. Just feel how you're feeling right now. There's no words. There's no words. It comes from within us. When we stop and just focus on an inner practice, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the yogi sitting there with his, chanting Om. It can be doing artwork. I watch when there's art going on and I watch the focus. Nobody even knows when I walk by. There's such focus and one-pointed concentration. And that is a technique to take us to peace, right? And plus we're creating. And so we're on the right side of the brain when we're doing art, when we're creating, when we're breathing, when we're being present. And so peace are all those things. Does anyone want to throw in anything else? What peace means to you? It can be we'll just look at a few things here. I always do this. So peace defined, when I looked it up in the dictionary online, absence of disturbance, right? And so on a global level, no war, there's peace, right? So we have internal peace and external peace, but really they're one. Really they're one because the inner is the outer is the inner. Stillness. So did you feel a little bit of stillness just through that opening meditation? A little bit, right? And even though there were other things going on, did you notice how the mind jumps in and says, oh, that's someone talking. Oh, that's someone in the kitchen. Oh, that's the mind does that, right? The mind will label, the mind will judge, the mind will expect. So what we try to do is quiet him or her or it and say, no, we're focusing on our breath. And so that's the vehicle really, is quieting the mind to become aware of this inner presence of who we are. And so peace is tranquility, right? Very similar to quiet or stillness. Harmony, absence of inner struggle. And how many of us really feel that all the time? It's very difficult to achieve, right? And when we try to achieve peace, it doesn't seem to happen, right? Because we're trying, we're striving. So when we are peace within us, wherever we go, whoever we're with, whatever we're relating to is also peace, because we are peace. Does that make sense? It sounds like it's just an ideal, right? But it really works. The more peaceful we are within ourselves, the more peaceful we because we're more than this body, we're multidimensional. We are never changing. I mean, there's a place in us that does not change. So when we are peace within ourselves, whoever we come in contact with feels that, and then they are in peace as well. Because the energy kind of, you know how when you hook on your computer, right, it connects to the internet, and it finds that right gigabyte or whatever it is, right? When we communicate with each other, our energy's going, oh, let me find the right balance here, right? And you can feel it happening. You can feel it happening. And so we said calm. Calm was one of the things. But on a global level, on an external level, it's also a state of no war or violence. But if we think about it, it's also no war inside of us and no violence inside of us as well, right? Because sometimes, we say, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. We have all these can'ts, we have all these should has, we have all these things where we feel we don't quite measure up. So what that does is it creates within us this violence that's going on inside of us. And we might not even be aware of it. It's just this inner turmoil that's happening. So I ask you, when we were going through the opening meditation, were you feeling, I'm not good enough? Were you feeling any of that? Probably not. I mean, you're sitting there and you're feeling, okay, I'm focusing on my breath, I'm focusing on listening. And the thing is, you can do this anytime. You can do this while I'm sitting here, I'm at peace, yet I'm communicating with you. But my intention is being peaceful myself, so that when I relate to you, you also feel the peace coming from me, and I feel your peace coming back to me. So there's an exchange. Okay? So is there any questions about really what peace is, or what I have to share this. We always say, okay, we have to have peace in the world. We have to have peace. Have you ever seen a war won and everyone was peaceful? Maybe for a moment. But what about all the things that happened along the way? What about all the pain and suffering that happened through that war? There's so many wars, but we always say stop the war. But it's so difficult because we've always had them, right? It's something that's continued from the beginning of time. There have been wars. And so I think Gandhi said, be the change you seek in the world. So if each one of us can be peaceful within ourselves, one by one, we can all be at peace. But it starts within us, right? And so whenever we struggle against something, whether it's an illness, I struggled for years with an illness. Struggled. I fought it. I denied it. And really, when I just accepted it, the door opened. The door opened when I just accepted it. And so I think when we can come to a sense of peace within us with whatever is happening around us, doors open that we could never imagine would happen, right? It's just, but we have to have the faith and the trust that it will happen. We have to trust in something, whether it's a tree, whether it's a higher being, whether it's a God, whatever it is, We have to trust that there's an energy of something that is going to lift us. And so that all comes with the peace. Okay? So I just wanted to speak a little on awareness. So when we did the opening meditation, you may have felt, and I could ask anyone, did you feel like there was an awareness of something else? Did you feel did you feel yourself as an observer of the sound, an observer of people talking, an observer? So something is hearing, something is listening, right? But what is that? Do we know? When you look in the mirror, and I say this all the time, I look in the mirror and I go, wow, you know, I'm this old, right? I'm going to be this old. But I still feel like I did when I was a child, right? We all have that part of us that still feels it's never changed, right? But we look in the mirror and we go, whoa, who is that? You know? So there's a part of us inside that is never changing, right? It's eternal. It's our essence of who we are. But then there's, like I said during the meditation, we put on this, I have to be this, I should be this, I need to be this, because we put on this mask of who we think we should be. And what that causes within ourselves is a little bit of struggle. Because not that we pretend, we feel we have to say, okay, I'm putting on this face, I'm putting on my makeup. It's almost like when we put this on, then we have to be someone else, right? Instead of being who we are. But when we went through the meditation, you connected to who you really are without even realizing it. There's an awareness that happens, a spaciousness that happens, limitless, no boundaries, okay? So awareness of what is like an awareness of what's present. Conscious means state of awareness of what is present externally or internally. And mindfulness means being conscious in the present moment. So mindfulness is like, I'm eating this grape. When you were eating, you were all talking, right? We're all talking. That doesn't mean we're unconscious. We're consciously talking. But when we do things mindfully, I'm driving my car. As we get out of bed, we jump out. Oh my gosh, I'm late, right? But so we fly out of bed. If we get out of bed mindfully, we're like, oh, well, I'm late. It's okay. And we put one foot over and the other foot over and slowly get out, right? That's the difference between mindfulness and like, I've got to hurry, right? So inner peace is really awareness of what is without choice or judgment in this present moment. So whatever comes to me, I'm sitting in traffic on the way down. I didn't realize there was a game because I don't watch the news. I don't know anything like that. I just look at the internet once a day. I'm sitting in the traffic and I'm like, oh my goodness, I might be late. But it's what is, right? You all would be just enjoying your meal and it would be okay if I was 10 minutes late. So, it's our perceptions of looking at what's happening and what's placed in front of us without judging, oh my gosh, I'm a failure because I'm late, right? So it's important to be with what's present without judging it, without comment, without labeling it as good or bad. And I have a story about good or bad later. But I'm not saying when we get presented with an illness or when we get presented with a tragedy or something happens, I'm not saying, oh, it's what is. That would be really inhuman, right? We have to react. We have to feel. And so can we feel fully? Can we feel what's happening fully and then be present with it? Can we do that? And that's not easy, right? So Wayne Dyer, I don't know if any of you have read Wayne Dyer, have any of you? He's a motivational speaker, a very famous man. But he said, peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is rather than how we think it should be. That says it in a nutshell, right? We always want things to be different. Always. You know, if it's red, we want it blue. If our hair's curly, we want it straight. If it's straight, right? So we always want something different. If we're tall, we want to be short. If we're short, we want to be, you know, there's always something about us that we want to be different. And so that's the nature of being human. And so just, you know, it's humorous, right? So just think of that. And I also want to mention, if you want handouts of the slide, Kirsten will get them to you. So just let us know if you'd like one so you can remember kind of, because it all seems real hazy once you leave. So I want to speak a little bit, inner state of being, outer state of being. So the inner, right? The inner inside of us, what we connected to at the beginning when we connected into the opening meditation, right? We connected into feeling. We connected into being. We weren't doing anything. We were just being present, right? Is that, oh, that might be your son, huh? That's okay. And changeless. So we connected to that part of us that is not changing. Inside, we are perfect as we are. There's nothing to change, nothing to make better. We are formless. We are timeless. Did you feel there was no time when you were sitting there? You weren't worried about what time it was in that moment. Spacious. We make space. So when we breathe, when we take a breath and breathe in and just exhale, we allow space. Space in our thoughts, space in our emotions. And we are limitless. We always feel as beings on this earth, sometimes we feel these boundaries, or we might feel constricted, okay? So I'm here to tell you that the possibilities are endless. We are limitless. All we have to do is use our intent and be present, and anything really can happen if it's to be for us through our journey. And so outer is the thinking, the mind, the role of the mind is really to bring us to stillness. So when we notice the mind jumping around, we say, no, come back. So that's the role of the mind, to bring us back to ourselves. It's this journey of life. And so sometimes when we're, hit with an illness or a disaster or a tragedy, that's what brings us back to who we are, because we go, wait a minute, whoa, and then we're brought back to ourselves. And so the mind, when we're presented with an opportunity such as an illness or something happens, we're presented with an opportunity for enlightenment. We're presented with an opportunity to go higher on our journey and to open to something new. And so sometimes when things happen, we think it's really not good, but when it happens, it might be really good. It might evolve into this beautiful space of helping others or realizing who we really are. It's amazing. The possibilities are endless. The objects outside of us are always changing, right? Always changing. Nothing ever stays the same. We want it to stay the same outside of us. We want everything to just stay status quo. But the reality is, it's always going to change. But the good part of that is, when we go inside of ourselves, even for a minute, we reconnect to all that doesn't change within us. We connect to our source, connected to what we feel, maybe a higher power, higher energy, God, whatever that is to you. This is not about religion, it's about being present, and being present with the energy of all it is, whatever it is. And so the mind is ever-changing objects. It's conditioned. So here's an experience. I just want you to think for a moment. When I point to that grape, now some people might like grapes, some people might not like grapes. But I want you to think when you remember, how you remember a grape or how you remember a piece of melon. So think of how you remember that. It might bring back a memory of a chicken, right? Oh, Wahlburgers chicken, everybody loves it, right? So whenever someone says Wahlburgers chicken, it brings back a specific memory of what Wahlburgers chicken looks like, right? So that's how the mind works. If we think of, we might get a smell. Okay, I'm trying to think of a smell of pizza. Each of us will have a different idea, right, of what that smell of pizza is. Do you have to go? I could ride you home if you want. Oh, they came. Okay. Thank you for being here. And so when I say pizza, we all think of our favorite pizza place. And that pizza is always different, right? That pizza is always different from what your pizza is. But it's the memory from our mind that says this is the pizza. So it tries to put everything in containers. Okay. Separation. Mind likes separation. It doesn't want union. Mind is form. The form, this form, is our body. Going inside is formless, right? When we connect within ourselves, it's formless. Dense is the outer, is dense. It's objects, dense. Inner is space, denseless, limitless. There's boundaries outside of us. There's perceived limitations of what we can and cannot do. This one is really important. Inner acceptance. If we accept ourselves as we are and accept the world as it is, pause on that for a moment. I accept myself as I am. I accept the world as it is. If each one of us in this planet felt that, what would we have? Peace. Peace. Because we're not disagreeing with this. We're not thinking this should be different. We're not imposing our will on anyone else. And we're accepting everybody, every religion, everything the way it is. That equals peace. I accept myself as I am. I accept the world as it is. Equal sign. Peace. And I did this presentation and I didn't have those two. And then I had a meditation and I realized that if we did this without, we drop all expectation of what everyone else and everything else should be, we are peace. And it's so easy, right? So let that be, we'll talk a little bit about tools, but that could be an affirmation for you, right? When you're driving and someone cuts you off, I accept myself as I am and the world as it is. When something happens, I accept myself. Let that be your mantra or your slogan, for what you want. Because we're going to create one, like when you want peace, you're going to think of something. But just, I would suggest getting a copy of the slides to help you remember and bring you back to this. Because it'll go away, in a couple days. And so the mind and peace, we've talked a little bit about this. The mind lives in the past, and it recreates. This is where, here's me. I should have went to school to be a nurse. Over and over, over and over, over and over, because I always wanted to be a nurse. I dressed up as a nurse when I was a kid. We all have that, right? There's something we didn't do that we feel we should have done. different outcomes, okay, if I was a nurse, I'd do this, I'd do this, I'd do this. So the mind does this. It just keeps going and going. It lives in the future. Okay, I will be peaceful when I start doing prayerful meditation, I start doing serenity prayer, I start doing meditation every day. I'll be peaceful then, but for now I'm going to do this, right? And so, or I'll be peaceful when I get a new job. I'll be peaceful when I have a new house. I'll be peaceful when I get that car. It's always, I'll be peaceful when I get divorced. I'll get peaceful when I stay, when this happens. So it's when the kids go to college. Right? When the kids go to college, the house will be quiet and I'll be at peace. And it never happens, does it? It never happens. It might happen like on the external, right? The house is quiet. But is it peaceful inside? No, there's still that little struggle going on somewhere within us, right? Of what we think we should be or do. So the mind has 50,000, I saw 70, but I took the lower number, 50,000 thoughts a day from the time you open your eyes to the time you go to sleep. And even when you close your eyes at night, sometimes we don't sleep. Why? The mind doesn't turn off, right? It keeps going and going like a little mouse on a wheel. And so the mind draws us. I think that's its role. It draws us away from ourselves, from our inner essence. The mind goes, okay, we need to, we need to do this, we need to do that. So if you think of, like, we've had days where we've had every season in one day. So if you think of the weather, and you think of the sun, and it's shining brightly like it has been, so we think of the sun, and then the clouds come and cover the sun, right? Is the sun gone? No. The sun's always there. The moon's always there. But the clouds cover them. In the same effect, inside of us, we have our essence of who we are. And who we truly are is more than who we think we are, much more. And then we have everything covering it from the time we grew up. No blame here. We all grow up this way. We have to be this. We have to do this. We have to, right? So we all grow up and we're born like so big. You see a baby's face, right? A baby, you look at a baby and the baby knows it's just more than this body, right? You look at the baby, it's innocent. And then little by little, we all grow up and we're put in this like, okay, I have to be this way. I have to act this way, right? So we learn through an illness or through something that's happened to us that's uncomfortable, we learn that we are more than the body. We're more than the mind. We start connecting to something more because we have to in that moment. All right? So the mind draws us away, and that's kind of its role. And so reaction and response, I just want to touch on this a little bit. I've touched on this before in some of my talks. So reaction is when we are angry or we are emotional, something happens and we react. Now, naturally, if there's a tragedy, if there's something that happens, we're going to react. It's not normal not to react, right? But it's important, if we're going to react, to go ahead and react, and then just feel within us instead. Just feel the anger. Feel the fear. Feel whatever's arising without choice or judgment. And I'll say this because sometimes, we may have a feeling come up like, I feel guilty about something, right? And that feeling, or that fear comes up, right? And attached to that fear is guilt, right? I'm afraid because I feel guilty about something. Or maybe I'm angry at my daughter and I feel guilty for being angry at her, right? So what I'm asking you is to feel the anger fully without the feelings about the feeling. Does that make sense? So we might get angry, but it's okay not to feel guilty because we got angry. Does that make sense? So whenever we have a feeling, feel it fully. Say, I'm angry, and this is why, and be it. And then let it dissolve, let it come through, but don't feel guilty because we reacted and then we feel guilt, because guilt just sits in us, remorse sits in us, sadness sits in us. So it's good to feel these feelings fully and then breathe them away, dissolve them away, let them go. Say thank you for being here, thank you for being present with me. And then just use your breath or any other technique that we will discuss here to allow it to dissolve, okay? So non-reaction would be, I'm feeling this anger come up at something that was said to me, and I'm feeling the anger, I'm feeling angry, but I'm going to feel this anger, but I'm not going to react to it. I'm going to respond and just say, that's okay. I understand where you're coming from. I would be, I understand what you're saying to me. And although I don't agree with you, let me sit with it and feel into it. Does that make sense? So there's a difference between reacting and then responding. So we're feeling it. We're not having those feelings about the feeling. We're just feeling it fully, that I'm a little angry. But I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to be present with this anger and see, you might even see the root of where it's coming from the more you practice this. And also, someone said, this was really, one of my teachers said, be the gatekeeper of your mind. And I thought, wow. Because we have these thoughts that continuously come and go. So I imagine this like iron gate, one of those iron gates, and I'm standing there, with this, like just a stake or something, and I'm guarding my thoughts. Because sometimes we let our thoughts just run rampant, right? We're just like constantly, jump. So learn to be the gatekeeper. Say, well, oh, what's coming up now? Okay, no, we're not going there right now, and it could be any example. I'm sure you can think of one where thoughts come up, maybe something you're afraid to do, right? Thoughts come up and say, you can't do that. You can't do that. Why do you think you can do that? And so you just say, no, we're not going there, and we're doing this. Because when we know that we're more than this, when we know we're more than this body, we can do anything with confidence and ease, okay? And so I invite you to create an intention statement, a personal mission statement, whether it's I am peace, I am radiant health, and I've done a whole talk on intention. But just think of something and use those words, I am, and allow it to be reinforced into your cells and into your being. And so there's some tools, foundational tools for inner peace. And I tried to use some of these at the beginning so you could experience them. Some of them you can just do anytime. You don't have to be, like I said, in a meditative state. You can do these anywhere, anytime. You can do them at work, you can do them in your car, you can do them at home. So conscious breathing practices, and notice I use the word conscious, and what we said conscious is awareness of the present moment. So we can be breathing. So while you're listening to me, you're just listening, right? We're not focused on the breath. So conscious is like being aware of the breath. And I'm breathing in, and I'm breathing out, right? And so that can be done anytime, even as you're interacting with someone. So as usually when we're interacting, and I'm very guilty of this, although I don't like the emotion guilt, I am trying to think what to respond back to them, right? Because when someone's talking to us, we're trying to say, oh, what can I say back to this that would be okay, right? So instead of doing that, just when they're talking, try it this week. So when someone's talking to you, just focus on your breath and listen to them. And then formulate your response. I bet you it'll be much different, right? Do you think it might be different? Yeah, because it's coming from your heart. Because you are in a space of being and heartfelt space, your response will come from your heart and not from your mind. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions so far? Anything? Does that make sense, what I'm saying? Okay. So we did this breath. This breath, it's called, in yoga, it's called Shitali. You don't need to know that. It's just this breath is so amazing. It can be used for anybody. You don't have to be a yogi. You don't have to be a meditator of 40 years. It's just inhale through the nose. And as you exhale through softly pursed lips, just like. So let's try it just together a few times. So, because this breath is just the most important. So you're just breathing in, and then, and you have a little sound with it. Do you feel just what one breath does? Any time that you need to center one of those or two of those, do you see the difference? It brings me back down too, into myself. It's very, very powerful for any kind of stress. If you go to sleep at night and you feel you can't sleep, that's a nice breath to do to quiet the mind, okay? Counting breath, that's another good one. So as you breathe, you're counting. I'm breathing in 1. I'm breathing out 1. And so let's just try that. Just close your eyes. I'm breathing in 1. And it can just be a normal breath through the nose. And breathing out through the nose 1. And breathing in through the nose 2. And breathing out through the nose 2. And then slowly open your eyes. Do you see the difference? Do you feel the room? It just quiets everything because our mind is quiet. Sometimes when our mind is jumping, the thoughts are out there too. They're not just here. They're being projected. And so these breathing techniques, there's one more I don't have on here, and that is actually lengthening the exhalation. When we lengthen the exhalation, what do you think that does? We're letting go, right? So that first breath that I taught you, with the inhale through the nose, exhale through the lip, that will lengthen the exhale. But if you can consciously say, I'm breathing in and count 1, 2, 3, breathing out 4 counts, right? So anything that you can do to lengthen the exhalation will allow the whole nervous system to come into balance. Can you feel it? What it does is it balances the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems in our body so that we come into a balance with the endocrine system, with the hormones. The fight and flight drops down, so we just become deeply relaxed. The other one is the I am peace breath. So you breathe in, I am, and very, very slowly breathe out peace, and feel that peace just infiltrating into the cells, into the nervous system. And you might even feel or see the peace just written on your cells. Your cells are glowing peace. I'm breathing in, I am. And I'm breathing out, peace, peace, peace. And just see the cells illuminated with peace and light. And allowing this light to spread through every part of your being. Another thing you can do when you do this is see yourselves smiling. See little smelly faces on all the cells. And then allow your lips to just turn up into an inner smile. And slowly open your eyes. And just notice also how your vision changes, how your seeing changes, because we're seeing from inside of ourselves instead of seeing from outside and projecting out. We're projecting from within. And I invite also conscious feeling. This is a technique, so whenever we feel ourselves getting emotional, whenever we have pain, whenever we feel stress, whenever we feel uncomfortable, and the mind starts racing, right? What's going to happen? This is uncomfortable, it's so painful. What I invite you to do is tune into feeling in your body, feeling sensations, feeling anything that's going on in your body. So for this one, I'm actually going to use, does anyone have any pain right now in their body at all? Let's pretend. We'll just pretend whether it's emotional or mental, okay? Just go to an area that sometimes flares up for you, and it could be an emotional thing, it could be a mental thing, it could be a physical thing. And so many times when we have pain, and so we don't want to go directly into it, so I invite you to just allow your awareness to move around the area. So just almost like you're circling around the area, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, that sometimes flares up, or maybe it's something you're dealing with, a sadness or depression, anything like that. Just allowing that to come up, to be seen. And allow yourself, as you're circling it, just to be present with it without expectation of it getting better, without expectation of it changing in any way. Just being present with it. Invite it in for tea without pushing it away or pushing it down. Allow it to be seen and felt. And as you move around the area, you might allow your breath to just move around this area. And all the while, just tune into anything that you may be feeling as a felt sensation in your body around this pain or emotion or thought. And so whenever we have pain, it wants to be seen, it wants to be heard, it wants to be listened to. So all we do is give it space and allow ourselves to be present with it without choice, without judgment, without expectation of anything different than what is in this moment. You might find that you can maybe breathe into it, but never force that. Just be present with it. As the breath circles, it might get closer and closer. And it may take one time or many times just to be present. But what this begins to do is shift the energy of this object, this pain. On an energetic level, it begins to shift. And this is all done through your own presence, through your own journey, just by being aware and fully present. And then take a nice breath in. Pause the breath ever so slightly, and then a long, slow sigh. And when you feel ready, gently open your eyes. And so this is a very powerful technique that you can use anytime for anything going on. We did the conscious listening at the beginning where we were listening to everything going on, and conscious observation of an object. So that would be, maybe if you have something at home that you really enjoy looking at, it could be a crystal, it could be a piece, anything. It could be this chair, it could be just looking at it from inside. So most of you, I can tell by looking at you, you're very internal right now. So just maybe pick that mosaic. Let's all just look at that mosaic for a minute, that beautiful mosaic with all the colors. And just look at it. Now, some of you have been in here many, many times, but you may have really not noticed all the different qualities in that mosaic, right? We've been in this room, all of us, many times, but we've never really maybe noticed that it, what looks maybe to be a tree, or maybe has everyone noticed this before, the sun? Yeah. So you are aware. And so just seeing it, I guess the point is, if you've noticed it, which is a really good sign, but seeing it like the little diamonds in here, seeing it as if you've never seen it before. And so in enlightenment, what we say is looking at everything as if we were a child again, right? Childlike openness. And so being present, children are very present, right? They look at you and they're very present with what's happening. So what we are invited to do is see things and feel things as if we've never felt them before, without the mind jumping in and saying, oh, I saw that before. That's just, that's what it looks like, right? Or a cardinal, a bird. That's what a cardinal looks like. So the mind will jump in and try to tell us how to see it. So when we truly see, we say to the mind, no. I'm really going to see this in a different way, and seeing our lives as well in a different way, living in a different way than we feel we need to live in, living from our presence, living from our essence. Okay, so that would be observation. When in reaction, feel and replace with your intention, I am peace, right? When the mind jumps in and says, oh, jump in and say, I'm feeling this fully, and I'm replacing it with my intention. We're empowered to do that. I invite you to think of a symbol that symbolizes peace for you. We might all have, like for me, it might be a bird. I see birds and I feel very peaceful when I see birds. Think of something that gives you peace, and just take a moment to feel into something that gives you peace, that represents peace. It could be a flower, could be the ocean, somewhere where you feel peaceful, you feel peace within and around you. And if it doesn't come right now, does everybody have one? It can be a peaceful place, right? So this symbol, this personal peace symbol, whenever you feel out of balance, out of whack, maybe emotional or stress is coming your way, you are empowered to bring this symbol in right away. I am peace. And then see this whatever it is, this peaceful symbol, you're embodying it. You are it. And then notice if that shifts whatever's coming your way. Okay, because everything's energy. So when we're peace, what comes to us? Peace, right? So that's just another technique. And then being mindful, mindful being, mindful walking, mindful driving. And usually I start out the day mindful, and it just goes away. You know, the first email, the first text, and it's all, I'm not mindful anymore. And so it's a practice. And none of us, you know, we're not perfect unless, you know, we're an enlightened being. But we are, if we know this, we know we already are that. We are, you know, we're all saying, I'm seeking, I'm searching. Let's find. Let's just be it. And when each of us live this way, it changes the world. Because we are what we are seeking. We are that already. We are perfect. We are whole. You know, we might have something that doesn't work on us quite right or something, you know, it doesn't matter. We are already that. So when we know that, everything else in life seems joyful. And as we go through life knowing we're more and knowing that it's not like so, I mean, it is serious, but sometimes it's good to lighten it up a little bit and say, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And so I always say we're human beings. But are we, or are we human doings? We're human doings, right? But we're really human beings. We're being human, but we're so much more. So as you go through your day, walking, eating, driving, allow it to be a day of being. Allow it to be a day of remembering who you are. Okay? Any questions on any of these? No? All right. And so peace is a way of being unconditionally present to whatever arises is the pathway to inner peace. Trust in the process. Trust is the most important element of peace, is the trust that peace arises from within. When we stop to take a peace break, amidst everything else at the beginning, we did that. Everything was going on, but could you feel it inside? Yes. So you can do this. You can do it in your life. You can do it in everything that you try to do daily. Just take a peace moment. And so this is a poem written by my teacher, and I will actually read it to you. I thought we would end with just a little guided meditation to let us integrate everything that we've talked about tonight. So just close your eyes, and I'll use some of the techniques. And just allow yourself to move back within yourself, within your being. And just feeling yourself sitting in the chair. And allowing any thoughts or any emotions to be present without choice, without judgment. And just closing your eyes. Quiet the mind. Be still. Let go of all thoughts, worry, tension. Take a full breath in as fully as you can. And as you exhale, deep sigh. Relax. I'm going to use the bow, and so what I'd like you to do is just tune into the listening, the conscious listening of the sound of the bow. and follow the sound into silence. Allow yourself to drop into that silent space where all struggle stops. And being aware of your breath. And as you breathe in through the nose, allow the breath to come in fully, noticing the breath at the nostrils. And as you exhale, just exhale through soft, open lips, allowing the exhalation to be long and slow. Relax. And count these breaths from 5 to 1. I'm breathing in 5. I'm breathing out 5. All the way down to 1. And allow each breath to take you deeper within. Relax. Let go. Allow each breath to be full and be fully present for each breath. And then allow your breath to return to normal breathing. And just rest your gaze at the center of the forehead, just very softly, integrating and balancing. And relaxing the feet, relaxing the ankles, relaxing the knees, relaxing the hips, relaxing the spine, relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the arm, relaxing the hand, relaxing the torso, relaxing the face, relaxing the brain. Whole body relaxed. Whole body relax. Whole body relax. Allow yourself to drop from thinking and doing to feeling and being. Rest your gaze at the center of the forehead. As you rest your gaze here, feel the vast spaciousness of awareness. Feel yourself as time, transcendent presence now. I am peace amidst chaos. I am changeless amidst change. I am peace. I am peace. I am peace. As you rest your gaze at the center of the forehead, in this moment, aligned with all that is, all the meridians in the body are balanced and purified. All of the glands and organs nourished. Take a nice breath in and a long, slow exhale. And as you do, bring your peace symbol forward. You can remember it and carry it with you. And know that you are that. There's nothing to change or modify in any way. We are complete and whole as we are in this moment. Gently rub your hands together and just very, very lightly brush your face once again. And just feeling your inner light, your inner radiance is shining through your being. If you'd like, pressing the palms together at the heart. And as we breathe in, just have a sense of filling with peace. And as you exhale, breathe the peace out to the world, to the planet, to all beings. With our conscious intent from our hearts to theirs. Hari Om Shanti, that means peace be with you. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all beings. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you. And as you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes and allow yourself to remain connected to your source as you move through the remainder of your day. I'm so grateful you're here tonight. Thank you for coming. And maybe we should just leave quietly and let that, just keep that space. It's so good to have the new faces, and I'm so glad to see the old friends. Thank you.